Hello, folks. It's Mark Smith with Family Tree Counseling Associates. I've got a treat for you today. I love poetry, so maybe it's a treat for me, maybe it's not as much of a treat for you. Title of the video is How to Rise from Narcissistic Abuse. And the theme is sort of based on the amazing, the talented, the immortal Maya Angelou, world-renowned poet who passed away in 2014. She wrote perhaps her most famous poem, Still I Rise. And the poem really was about the struggle of her people's battle with slavery and prejudice. But I think it's a great anthem for we folk who have been narcissistically abused, because we were brutally in slavery as well. So I think the poem fits our struggle and makes a good anthem for us. So what I'm going to do, as I always do with poetry, is I'm going to read the poem through once, and then I'm going to offer quite a bit of commentary. I'm going to read a blog, in fact, by somebody named Clute Blackson, and the blog is entitled, What Other People Think About You Is None of Your Business. I think that's original content to Clute Blackson. I don't know if he or she was quoting somebody else. Clute sounds like a he, but I didn't do my homework. It was a blog from October 17th, 2013 of his. So I'm going to hit my whistle with some water before I read the poetry. My whistle has been watered. Here we go. Still I rise. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oils pumping in my living room. Just like moons, like suns, with the certainty of tides, just like hopes springing high, still I'll rise. Did you want to see me broken? Bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soul's cries, my soulful cries. Does my haughtiness offend you? It feels like she's wanting to say, does my haughtiness affect you, motherfucker? Don't you take it awfully hard, 'cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs? Remember, this is Maya Angelou. This isn't Mark Smith. Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from the past that's rooted in pain, I'll rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide. Welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise into a daybreak that's wondrously clear. I rise, bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the dream and the hope of a slave. I rise. I rise. I rise. Woo! I'm going to read it again. I'm going to commentate. Still I rise. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. So I've been talking about the concept of detachment, and that it really doesn't matter what it is that people say to you or about you. If you're detached and if you are secure in who you are, you don't have to set the record straight. So I heard a quote last week, I think from a client, and then I looked it up on the internet, and it was a blog called What Other People Think About You Is None of Your Business. This is by Clute Blackson. So I want to talk about if you're being cyberbullied or narcissistically abused, and 50 black or flying monkeys are up in your business and ruining your name in the community. Clute Blackson. What other people think about you is none of your business. It's their business. Wasting your time thinking about what they are thinking about you serves you nothing. Seeking approval is a waste of your time and energy. You don't need these people approval. You're not going to get it anyway. It will only bring you suffering. It's not whether others approve of you, but if you approve of you. That's what counts. Being popular with the world at the expense of your soul is a true booby prize. How people perceive you reveals more about them than it does about you. People will perceive you based on their own conditioning and filters, so don't take it personally. I get comments all the time where somebody will watch a video about my life and they'll have completely projected their stuff onto me, and what they're commenting on has nothing to do with me. And if it's rude, I just take it down. And so if you rudely project your stuff on me in a comment, it won't last 30 seconds. So don't even waste your time. I don't care what you think, but I'm not going to promote it. We sometimes hold back on being ourselves or stepping out and living our purpose in a big way because of the fear of being judged and what people will think and say. This is almost poetic. Here's the deal. When you put yourself out there in the world and dare to follow your dreams, it's a risk. It is a vulnerable and courageous act. People will judge you. People will talk about you. People will project their stuff onto you. It is what it is. In fact, some people won't like you, and they don't even know you. This is unavoidable. Make peace with this up front. I've had a lot of new associates hesitate to make videos because they didn't want to face the negative comments. I'm like, there are no negative comments, because if they're mean and nasty and disrespectful, they disappear. You have all power. You have boundaries. Do not give those who don't know you the power to determine your happiness. Do not even give those who know you the power to determine who you should be and what your limits are. Know who you are. As you accept yourself as you are and as you are not, you'll become powerful. You consolidate your energy and remain rooted in your center. Our resident Yoda genius, Jerry Wise, would call that being self-differentiated. You become free. The world is made to be free in, my friends, David White would say. When you no longer seek other people's approval, you are free. As you unhook yourself from other people's validation, you become truly powerful. Your soul is already self-validated. This is what Sahidra, I think her name is Arabi, is talking about, sourcing from yourself. You don't need some idiot narcissist sourcing you when you got a good, healthy, safe supply that you're sourcing to yourself. Your soul is already self-validated. You can please some of the people some of the time, but you can't please all the people all the time. In fact, there will always be those who, no matter what you do, will think negatively and never be satisfied. He didn't say this, but fuck them. This has nothing to do with you. Jesus, Bruce Lee, Gandhi, Bob Marley, Martin Luther King. I could add Michael Jordan. We could add Maya Angelou, Jackie Robinson. There's so many great self-differentiated people. John F. Kennedy, Robert Kennedy. They all had people who didn't like them. Remember that there really are no enemies, just those who don't know you yet, and they don't know themselves yet. At the end of the day, you're the only one who has to live with yourself. Even if you do get others' approval, and it's at the expense of yourself, you won't be satisfied. Trying to get people's approval is a form of control, but in doing so, you're the one who ends up being controlled. The energy it takes is not worth it, as it often requires you to give up a part of yourself in order to get the approval, and that's way too expensive. As I often say, if everyone likes you, you might want to be concerned. When you follow your heart, you will make waves in this world. There's a verse of scripture in the Old Testament. It says, "Do not strongly rebuke a mocker, lest they hate you." And the problem with my job as a therapist and even as a YouTube video maker is I'm committed to tell the truth. And mockers are defensive people, shame-based people, victim-y people. So my job requirement calls me to strongly rebuke people. And if they're mockers, if they're arrogant, projecting, unrecovered, defensive, victim-y people, they're going to hate me. And if my clients are that way, I tell them, you're either going to learn something or I'm going to chase you out of the building, and I really don't care which it is because I'm committed to the truth. You'll stand out. You'll upset some people. You will create change. Life is a daring adventure to be lived with no regrets. It takes true boldness to truly be yourself. People have the right to think whatever they want to think about you. Let them have their business. So what do you think about the man in the mirror, the woman in the mirror? What other people think about you, it's just none of your business. So that's my commentary on the first two lines of the poem from Maya Angelou. With the certainty of tides, just like, oh, hold it, I think I might have missed something here. Let me go back. Let me go back. I missed something. There's the first two lines. Okay, here we are. With your bitter, twisted lies, you may write me down in history. You may trod me in the very dirt, but like dust, I'll rise. So this Maya Angelou, she's obviously experienced some narcissistic abuse, as did her ancestor. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells a drilling, pumping oil in my living room. I love that. What's the phrase? The best revenged is a well-lived life. I like to say the best revenge is thrive your ass off. Party like it's 1979. And live a life of integrity and be healthy and be prosperous and have joy. Just like the moons and like the suns, with the certainty of tides, just like hope springing high, still I'll rise. Just like hope springing high, still I'll rise. So the poet captures a sense of hope and some swag and some confidence in their recovery process. Did you want to see me broken? Bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries. And yes, narcissists love that. They feed on it. They feed on hurting people. You can't see it with my jacket on, but on one arm I've got the tattoo of courage, and on my other arm I've got a tattoo of the Superman logo. And so that's what I'm saying is I'm not going to walk around like a crushed, broken, weak man, because I'm Superman in recovery, and I have the courage of a tiger. The several narcissists that I allowed to bring harm to me didn't win, I won. I spiked the ball in the end zone, did a victory dance. Through the power of recovery, not through my own strength, but through faith in God, crying tears, getting massages, going to on-site, doing yoga, doing meditation, leaning into my friends, leaning into my supportive family members, praying, going to church, exercising, reading books, watching videos, going to therapy, doing what you got to do to get better. Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awfully hard? 'Cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my backyard. Again, the very best revenge is to thrive. And if you laugh like you got gold mines digging in your backyard, it's probably because you do have gold mines digging in your backyard. It's like I was stunned last night. I was thinking about, I have an anniversary coming up, December 13th. Today's the 11th. 2 days will be the anniversary of my video that changed everything for me, 50 symptoms of narcissistic abuse, because I went from November being a lost soul with no answers to December being a worldwide expert on narcissistic abuse syndrome and being a bit of a healing tool for humanity. And that video has helped tens and tens and tens of thousands of people, and it saved lives, and it put me on the map, and it was my coming out party. And I was just thinking that, a year and 3 weeks ago, I was thinking about quitting as a therapist, shutting down Family Tree, moving to Myrtle Beach, putting my tail between my legs, going on disability. Family Tree was, hanging on by a thread. I was hanging on by a thread, and a year later of thriving, Family Tree's been killing it. Last night, I looked at our stats, and we're getting over 1 million minutes of viewership every 28 days. And business is just flourishing. People are just coming in from all over the world via Skype and coming in locally. And we added 2 great therapists this year. Who knew? Who knew that a year later that you could overcome and thrive this much? Thank God. You may shoot me down with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness. Maya Angelou just defined narcissistic abuse about as good as anybody could. But still, like air, I'll rise. Does my sexiness upset you? This is not Mark Smith talking, y'all. I don't think my sexiness is upsetting anybody. Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs? Maya Angelou was sexy. Even as an older woman, she knew how sexy she was. Out of the huts of history shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Maya Angelou, she's speaking for her people who were slaves. And we're slaves too. We were all enslaved by narcissistic, dysfunctional, addicted, harmful, abandoning parents. And almost everybody listening to this video was in slavery to a narcissist, a borderline, a sociopath. So she is speaking for her people and I'm speaking for mine. We are rising, people. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, right? I rise into a daybreak that's wondrously clear. 19 and a half months later, after my shattering on April 26, 2015, things are wondrously clear. And I know who I am, and I know where I came from, and I know who the narcissist was, and I don't care what flying monkeys say, and I'm prospering in every possible way. And you can too. Dudes, if you're shattered, start on my December 13th video, the 50 symptoms of Narcissistic Abuse Syndrome, and just watch every video I made since then. And it'll walk you how to do it, walk you through it. This is how I did it. And you know, a lot of those videos I cry in and I'm hanging by a thread, and a lot of them I'm doing a victory dance, but soak it in. A lot of good free therapy there. I rise, bringing the gifts my ancestors gave. You know, the dysfunction in my family goes way back. I had a great-grandmother who was in a mental institution, probably was bipolar. My grandmother, my other side, was in a mental institution, probably was bipolar. There was severe abandonment by my biological great-grandfather on my mother's side. There was abandonment by my mother's father. There was severe abandonment by my father's biological father. My sister, Renda, had drug addiction. I was a religious addict. My brother's a religious addict. We've all been workaholics. My mother was a food addict. Most of us in my family have been food addicts. My mother was married 5 times. My dad was married 5 times. We grew up in extreme poverty. All 6 kids who survived were sexually abused. I grew up with my roots in the coal mines near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We're Pennsylvania hillbillies. But all that stuff that my ancestors went through has brought about a healing energy that's flowing through me and touching y'all. You know, touching really, ultimately, millions of people. So I take the pain of my ancestors and I take the torturous shattering that I experienced and I turn it into blessing for myself and I turn it into blessing for you. We rise from this, folks. I am the dream and the hope of the slaves of narcissistic abuse syndrome. We rise. We spike the football in the end zone. We do a victory dance. We rise. We get better. We thrive. We get better jobs. We have better health. We have money in the bank. We get into healthy relationships. We walk with our head held high. Our chests don't hurt anymore. Our hands don't tremble. We have courage. We are supermen and superwomen. We rise. That's what I'm talking about. I'm going to go watch the Indianapolis Colts play in downtown Indianapolis today. And then I'm going to come home, watch my beloved Cowboys whoop the New York Giants on the night game. Thank you for watching today. You're a riser. Please join our YouTube channel. We just passed 17,000 subscribers, so get you some of that. And also I've got some really good books on abandonment, on shame, and on healing affair recovery at familytreecounseling.com. Peace. Have a great day. God bless.